Is the board visible? Okay, can you tell me where did we stop exactly? Okay, we were supposed to see plasmodesmata. Okay. Okay, so we'll continue with the lesson. Okay, so we were supposed to see this thing, plasmodesmata we saw. So today what we will see is, we'll try to see how the cells are connected. Okay, so when the cells are connected, let us say that this is one plant cell, and let us say this is another plant cell. Let us say that this is another plant cell. Let us say that this is one more plant cell. Let us say that this is one plant cell. And let us say that this is one plant cell. So let us say that this is one plant cell. Okay. So we have already studied that there are plasmodesmatal connections. So like this, you are like kind of connecting different cells with help of a plasmodesmata. Okay, let us say that this is a plasmodesmata. If you are going to see here, you will be able to see that this is all interconnected. This entire area is interconnected. So you are able to see that there is like interconnection between these things. You are able to see interconnection here. You are able to see interconnection in all these aspects. Okay. So this interconnected area, this inside part of it, which is connected, the cytoplasmic fluid, which is connected inside, we call it as apoplasm. We call it as okay. And there are certain fluids, or like you have the outer surface, the sequence which is there outside. Sorry. This is symplasm, and you have this connection. The one which is there outside is what we call it as apoplasm. Okay. So basically you see here, you have two types of fluids which are there connected here. Okay, what is symplasm is referring to? The symplasm here refers to living matter. Okay, and cytoplasm. That forms continuously. Continuously between cells through plasmodesmata. Okay, you also have apoplasm. What is this apoplasm? Apoplasm, it refers to non-living matter. In the intercellular space between two cells. Okay, so this is what is symplasm and apoplasm. This is part of cell wall only. Please note it down. Okay, are you guys done? Basically, we call it as protoplasm when we are talking about a single cell. Okay, but when it is all connected as a network, we call it as a symplasm. Okay, so you have all these things interconnected as a long chain in a plant and all, like you will have like water system and all will be transported through symplasm. It can be transported through apoplasm also. You will study about this in later thing. The tube which is connecting plant cell, it's not exactly a tube. It is like kind of like some kind of opening which is there. So here I have drawn it as a tube, but usually how it will be there, it will be like, let us say that this is one plant cell and the other plant cell is like kind of like associated with it. There is some amount of uh, gap here, as in like it is not connected. So rather than that, this is like kind of connected this way. You cannot call it as a tube. It is like kind of a bridge which is formed between two cells. Yes, plasmodesmata will occur only in plant cells. In human cells, we call it as junctions. We have a different kind of thing. Okay, so we have like, we'll study about junctions, cell junctions. The word plasmodesmata is used only for the layer which is forming as a bridge. Here plant cells will have plant cells will have cell wall. So because of which the structure is different. I mean like plasmodesmatal connection is seen in all cells which are having cell wall, which are multicellular. Protista might not have. Algae might have. Fungus may also contain plasmodesmata kind of structures. Yeah, any multicellular organism, eukaryotic, it will have these kind of connections. Okay. So the next one is pits. Yeah, plasmodesmata is over. The cells of cell wall of certain cells will have deposits of lignin. This is also part of cell wall only. And some unthickened area. The unthickened area is called as pits. Okay, if you're talking about this is the cell and this is the cell wall, so there are some areas which are thickened with lignin, and suddenly some areas will be having no lignin. So let us say that this is like kind of like created. So now this is a pit. This is a pit, and this is also a pit. Okay. So basically pits are the unthickened area. So this is a lignin thickening caused by lignin. It is not unempty areas. It is the empty area. Okay, so this is what we call it as pit. Okay, someone is asking for first slide. Yeah, it is found in sclerenchyma, right? The second slide. Now moving on further, what are the functions of cell wall? Gives mechanical strength, gives rigidity, and resistance to enlargement. It controls growth and prevents from bursting. See if we have written all the points here already. If it is written already, it's okay, fine. If you haven't written it, please write it now. Yeah, I remember teaching this. Okay, are you guys done? So people still want to see second slide. Okay, see. Guys, you have to like kind of like be fast here. We are going very slow. Okay, so now we'll move on further. The next thing that we are going to study is cell coat. Okay, it is a layer found in animal cells. Tambi pitsu over, cell wall is over. Okay, whatever we have seen till now is cell wall. Cell wall is like completely over. After plasmodesmata, pits and the functions of cell wall, we have completed cell wall. Okay, we have studied plasma membrane already. We have studied cell wall already. Now we are coming to the third organelle, which is called as cell coat. The cell coat is a layer found in animal cells. Okay, it is a filamentous layer of oligonucleotides. And glycoproteins. Okay, they possess complex and unique branching patterns. Okay, it may contain calcium salts, silicon, and other materials. Okay, so listen here. So I'll just show you cell coat here, a picture. Okay, so you are able to see here. So what is that you're seeing here is you're seeing a cell coat. So this is the lipid bilayer, which is the plasma membrane. Sometimes what will happen is from outside this structure, you are able to see some of these glycolipids, okay, and you are able to see these extensions which are there, these branchings. So this is what is forming what we call it as a cell coat. Okay, so the cell, this blue color chains that you're seeing here, which is all coming out from the as a branch of this plasma membrane. This is what we call it as a cell coat. So this is what we call it as cell coat. Maybe we can call this as a glycocalyx in glycocalyx of uh, animal cells. So in animal cells, you have this extra coat, which we call it as cell coat. Sometimes we can call it as that green color structure that you're seeing here is the transmembrane protein. The integral membrane proteins which are there, those are the green structures. So this is the transporter protein. So it is like kind of branching out from the transport proteins also. What? Glycoproteins and sugars. Okay. So this is what we call it as cell coat. So this is like kind of like an additional layer which is seen here. So what are the functions of it? If you're talking about the functions, it will be helpful in cell recognition. Okay. And then you have, it protects the plasma membrane. And then you have, it helps in blood grouping. Okay, it plays a major role in transplantation. Unique branching means what? Unique branching means, let us say that an RBC is there. This is an RBC. This RBC has membrane. So from this RBC membrane, you are able to see some patterns which are coming out. This kind of structure is what is making the blood group basically. This protein structure, this is a structure which is like going to create the blood grouping system. So suppose, let us say that there is a unique pattern which is like kind of A, probably like what is the thing, this blood group, if the blood cell is having a protein which is called as A, then this will be called as a blood group. Suppose if there is a blood cell which is having B, then we call this as a B group. Okay. Suppose if it is having nothing, we call it as a O. Okay. The next one is like you have A as well as B. We call this as a AB blood group. What are this A, B and all? That is all parts of the proteins that we saw in this particular thing. So depending on the cell, each one is having a different pattern of proteins. That is what I am trying to tell. So this is what we call it as antigens. Yeah, basically the cell coat is antigen. Basically the cell coat is what we call it as antigen, and the cell coat is what is having the proteins. The proteins of the cell coat only will determine what is antigen. So whatever you are seeing here as a blue color structure is the antigen. Why human beings have different types of blood group, we'll study it in the chapter body fluids and circulation. You can see animal cell means it can be any animal cell. It need not be only human cell. You can talk about your thing. I mean like lion, tiger, cheetah, leopard, elephant. All those things are also animals only. Any animal for that matter. Human beings are also animals. So human beings will also come under this category. The blood group is all coming from the genes. So there is no possibility that there is a new group which can be formed, which is not to the normal one. That is all like will be considered as a mutation. You'll study about it in 12th standard. Okay. So this is what is about cell coat. Cell coat will be unique for different people. So it will not have a fixed size. Okay. With this thing, we are completing the cell wall and the plasma membrane. So now we are going to get into the next internal thing, internal part of the cell, which is called as endomembrane system. So people want flow. Fourth slide. People want fifth slide. Third slide. Yeah, you want to ask for slides, all the slides now. Once again, in the end, you want me to show. I keep showing you the slides. The class will get over. We will not proceed at all. You don't have to write about blood grouping and all now. I'm just trying to explain you things that the cell coat is something which is going to play a major role in cell recognition. What is the cell recognition? Basically identifying different kinds of cells. The cell coat is also protecting plasma membrane. The cell coat will help in blood grouping. The cell coat will be playing a major role in transplantation. So say for example, you are going to transplant a kidney from a person who's having A blood group. and then you are going to give it to a person who's having B blood group, that transplant will be a failure. Okay, so which means matching of the cell coat is very important for transplanting tissues. Okay, so that is what you need to understand. So the next thing that we are going to see is it is not about we are lacking in portion completion, but basically I feel that the pace at which we are moving is very slow because you people keep distracting me, asking like lots of unwanted things. And then like there is one more thing, that's that like you all have work at your own pace, and then you keep asking me to repeat slides. Okay, imagine like 20 people, different people asking 20 different slides at 20 different times. There is a complexity which is involved. One person wants third slide, one person wants fourth slide. You people don't write when it is being done. All person will not have a unique cell code. Whenever a person is having blood group A, he will have a unique. Blood group A is very different from B. B will be separate. That is what I am trying to tell. The cell code will not be like kind of completely different, but there are different groups of people for which they will have similar things. Okay, so the next thing is endomembrane system. The endomembrane system consists of 4 organelles. The first one is what we call it as endoplasmic reticulum. The second one is Golgi body. The third one is lysosome. The fourth one is vacuole. Okay, so the next 4 organelles that we are going to study together is called as the endomembrane system. Okay, endomembrane system will comprise of 4 different organelles. Endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi body, lysosomes, vacuoles. So the first organelle that we are going to study about is endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, we have been studying only about eukaryotic organisms since we completed prokaryotic organisms. So whatever we are studying now is a part of a eukaryotic cell. Okay, endoplasmic reticulum, the term was given by Keith Porter in the year 1953. Okay, endoplasmic reticulum is a complex system of membranous sacs running through cytoplasm. Okay, It is absent in RBCs, X cells, and embryonic cells, which means all other eukaryotic cells will contain. Okay, just a second, children. Yes, blood group we will come to know through RBCs only. And then we are studying about eukaryotes. Eukaryotic cells only will have endoplasmic reticulum. Prokaryotic cells will not have endoplasmic reticulum. No, I don't think we'll have doubt clarification section tomorrow. I just have to discuss that paper with you. So I will organize one class, or I will try to do it in the regular class timings. So that alone I have to do. Okay. So this is about endoplasmic reticulum. It occurs in three forms. Okay. Cisternae, vesicles, and tubules. So how will the cisternae will look? The cisternae will be looking like this. With some projections. Okay, so this is how cisternae will look. The next one is vesicles. Vesicles are just spherical bodies. Then you have tubules. Tubules will be like kind of this way. So they'll be like this. Okay, so this is how these three things will be there. The cisternae are elongated. Vesicles are round or spherical or ovoid structure. The tubules are branched structures which are irregular. These are all various forms of endoplasmic reticulum. Moving on further, okay, there are two types of endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, one is what we call it as your rough endoplasmic reticulum. And then the other one is what we call it as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so if you're going to see the walls of the rough endoplasmic reticulum, you will see that this particular walls will have ribosomes attached to it. So since if you are seeing it under a microscope, it will appear the surface is rough. So if it is having ribosomes attached to it, we call it as a rough endoplasmic reticulum. Whereas in smooth, you will not find them. So you are able to see ribosomes. They are associated with ribosomes. They are not associated with okay. So since they are associated with ribosomes, they are responsible for protein synthesis. They are connected with protein synthesis. These are connected with lipid synthesis, lipid or steroid synthesis. Okay, you please understand that smooth endoplasmic reticulum will not produce proteins because it is not having ribosomes associated with it. So what will happen? It will produce certain other things. What are the other things that it will try to produce? It will try to produce lipids. It will try to produce steroids. Okay, it will try to produce hormones. Those kind of things are there. Okay, so there is a particular variety of chemicals which will contain a chemical group which is called as sterol. Okay, The sterol containing compounds are what we call it as steroids. Most of your hormones will come under this category. You have lots of hormones which are called as steroid hormones. You have your testosterone, you have your estrogen, you have your cortisol, you have your progesterone, you have your hormones which are like your cortisone, you have something called as an aldosterone. These are all various kinds of hormones. So all these things are considered to be steroids. Okay. So you have different kinds of hormones which are there. So these hormones are what we call it as steroids. Okay. So these chemical groups which will contain cholesterol. Cholesterol for that matter is a sterol containing compound. It is not exactly steroid. It is from cholesterol. These things are all produced. These hormones are produced. Okay, so you please understand that this is these are all produced by the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and this is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, if you want some more things, if you want to know more about it, rough endoplasmic reticulum will have more cisternae. Here, this will contain more of vesicles and tubules. So we have studied the three forms now. Out of the three forms, cisternae is found maximum in your rough endoplasmic reticulum. And smooth endoplasmic reticulum is more of vesicles and tubules. Okay. Please write rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum are interconnected. Okay, this is first point. The second point that you should know is RER is continuous with the nucleus. Nuclear membrane. The third one, SCR, is connected with Golgi complex and plasma membrane. Connected and continuous, I think it's the same meaning. Okay. The last part is, I'll just finish the functions. It gives mechanical support, or it gives a mechanical framework. Okay. The next thing is, it helps in intracellular transport. Performs metabolic activities. Produces lipids and steroids. Lipids, steroids, and proteins. Okay, and the last part is, it plays a major role in muscle contraction. Okay, the muscles will contain a special type of endoplasmic reticulum, which is called as sarcoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so this sarcoplasmic reticulum is the endoplasmic reticulum of muscles. And it will also, it plays a role in detoxification. Okay, you please understand that the liver cells are called as hepatic cells. The hepatic cells contain smooth endoplasmic reticulum that plays a role in detoxification. Say, for example, if your body is having some toxins, it has to be removed. Who is removing it? It will be removed by your liver cells. So, who in the liver cell is going to help that thing? The liver cells will contain lots of deposits of smooth endoplasmic reticulum that will result in the detoxification, basically. Okay, so let me just take 2 more minutes of your time, and then I'll try to explain. So you please understand that you have a cell. Okay, if you have a cell, the center is what we call it as a nucleus. From the nucleus, what you are able to see is, you are able to see a long stretch. This is what we call it as the endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so you have two types of endoplasmic reticulum. One is the rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is associated with the ribosomes. And there is a smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which is not associated with the ribosomes. Let us say that this one with the red color is all rough. Let us say that I am not drawing that red here. So let us say that this is a smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, what you need to understand is, you need to understand that the cell's DNA is present in the nucleus. From the DNA, the information is passed to the RNA, and the RNA will come out of the nuclear membrane. The RNA will be coming like this as a strand, a single strand. So now as soon as this RNA is coming and attaching here, what will happen is the ribosome will come and attach. So now from this particular place, let us say that a protein is formed. This protein will be formed and it will be like kind of produced from the ribosome and it is kind of sent out. So from here, it is coming here. So this protein is produced where? It is produced in the walls of the endomembrane system. Okay, this endomembrane system is going to produce this protein. And what is going to happen? So let us say that this is like kind of a network. Okay, so now what you will see here is this protein, let us say that this is like kind of a thing. So this protein will start to come here through this particular thing, making some foldings. So the protein will be getting shaped up where? It will be like kind of getting shaped up as it is moving in the endoplasmic reticulum. So this endoplasmic reticulum is going to be a passage where your proteins are getting folded. So protein transport molecules, let us say that steroids are produced. The steroids will be transported through this particular endoplasmic reticulum only. Let us say that the lipids are produced. Lipids are also transported through what? This endoplasmic reticulum. So this endoplasmic reticulum is playing an important role in the intracellular transport. It gives a mechanical framework. Why? Because you have a cell. Let us say that this is the cell. This entire cell will be comprised of what? It will be having like lots of this endoplasmic reticulum. So it is giving a mechanical framework. It will be acting as a frame. Okay, it will have lots of this enzymes which are there. So it will be like kind of activity. It will be like kind of producing. It will be involved in the metabolic activities. And also it will be producing lipids, steroids and proteins. Now tell RER or SER. Which one will produce the thing? Which one will produce lipids and steroids? SER. Okay, very good. Which one is going to produce the proteins? Proteins is produced by RER. Very good. Okay, so this is what is the case. And then finally, it will be playing an important role in muscle contraction. And it is also important for detoxification. With this thing, the endoplasmic reticulum is over. It is both the endoplasmic reticulum. I am talking mostly about endoplasmic reticulum together. Okay. I am not differentiating between endoplasmic reticulum rough or smooth. But there are certain functions like detoxification, which is concerned only with smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So smooth endoplasmic reticulum is involved with this thing. Whereas muscle contraction, every other endoplasmic reticulum, both are RER and SER. Okay. So since it is here, it is mentioned here, like I'm trying to do that thing. Okay. So this is what we call it as thing. So it is not connected with the, yeah, it will have both SER and RER. Hepatic cell will contain more of SER, more smooth endoplasmic. It doesn't mean that all cells will have rough endoplasmic reticulum also, smooth endoplasmic reticulum also. But which one is more and which one is less, it varies basically. Okay. So are you guys understanding what is detoxification means? Say for example, if a person has consumed alcohol, alcohol will have toxic chemicals, toxic chemical groups will be there. So these toxic chemical groups will be removed. It has to be removed from your body. Who is responsible for removal? That is what we call it as detoxification. Okay. So with this thing, we are completing today's class. I'll just show you all the slides. Slide number 1. Slide number 2. Slide number 3. Slide number 4. Slide number 5. Slide number 6. Slide number 7. It is because that is where detoxification is happening. Okay, wherever the waste is removed, that is the place which is having maximum connection with the waste. Slide number 9. Slide number 10. Slide number 11. Slide number 12. 4, 5. Third slide. 7th slide. Yeah, pits are also called as lumen. Yeah, you can call it. Dinesh, you are taking my life, man. Second slide. Thank you, children.